everybody, it's Kathy Champion and you're back with me at my craft table, and we're here at Random Acts of Crafting. So come on in, let's settle down, and we are going to make something hopefully useful that you can find use for in all parts of your house, and that is a tissue box cover. They do come now. They used to had all the wording and everything on them, but they are more decorative now, but you still have the little emblem on them telling you what the brand is, whether it's Kleenex or Puffs or, you know, some off-the-wall brand. It really doesn't matter. This is just a standard box of the Kleenex 2-ply tissues, and because I have really bad allergies, I keep tissues in my craft room, beside my chair in the den, beside my bed in the bedroom. I travel with a box of tissues in my car, so I always have a box of tissues somewhere close by. So I thought, what would be nicer than being able to make a cover? Now, I have been working trying to get the measurements down, and that can be a little daunting in itself, but I want to go over and tell you what we're going to be using. We are going to be using our Stampin' Up! Paper trimmer / scoreboard, and I'm going to be using these Ornate layer dies, and this is the smaller die out of this pack. And let me show you what comes in here. And I did make a card using these dies, I believe a couple days ago. But on this side of your dies, you have this set, and then you have this set. This die goes right here. It is just a little rectangle, a very narrow. It's a 1 inch. I think it's a 1 by 4. I believe it's a 4 inch. Let's see. Make sure I'm telling you right. Yep, it's a 1 by 4. And these dies are gorgeous. I mean, these dies are so pretty and so versatile because you get so many different sizes and different elements of this die. I love them. These would make gorgeous bookmarks. The cards, you saw the card that I made the other day using 2 of them. Let me see, I think I have it right here. I haven't mailed this out yet, but this is one of the cards that I used making these dies, and as you can see, I used this larger one and then this one, and it made a beautiful border for this white card. And I think it turned out absolutely beautiful. I was very thrilled with that card. And so these dies are very versatile, and they are the Ornate Layers dies, and they are available at Stampin' Up! And I'll have the link to that, to my website, in the description box below, and I'll also put it right up here with the item number. I'm also going to use a piece of this pressed petal designer series paper from Stampin' Up! This is set to retire, so I'm not even sure if it's still available. I'll try to check at one of my breaks within this video. I'll check and see, and I'll let you know later in the video if this is still available. My absolute favorite pack of paper that they had from last season. I loved it. I still love it. And out of my stash, I pulled out this very deep, rich purple. And I went ahead and cut this piece in, let's see, I think I have my notes here. I cut this at 10 and, no, I did this piece at 12. Let me check my measurements to make sure. I was having trouble getting my measurements on this, so just bear with me because I want to make sure I tell you right. I'm going to move this all out of my way. Yes, this piece is 12 by 12. I scored it at 1 1/4 and 10 1/2. So that's a little bit more on this side than this side, but it's okay because this is all going to be in the workings underneath. So what we're going to do on the 12-inch side, we're going to use our little cutter bees or any type of little snips that you have, and we're just going to cut down to that first score mark. We're going to take a little wedge out of here just to cut down on that bulk. And we're going to do the same thing over here. Just cut down that score line, down to here, and the little wedge out, just like that. All that's doing is just taking the bulk out, so when you fold this under, and this is going to be glued down to that, you will have a nice square edge on your box. And this is going to be the top. This will come onto the top of your box like that. And then we're also going to put a top on it, our sides, and the other side. There's the ends, and then of course the other side. Now the other side, I didn't do anything else to this. I wanted to show you. I did score it at 1.5. I mean 1.25. And at 10.5, this area. Then at the top, you're going to come in and you're going to score 1 inch. I think this is going to be 1 inch, correct? So let's bring our scoreboard back over. And I am going to come right here and I'm going to put this at 1 inch, just like that. And I'm going to use the score blade and I'm just going to score it. And now we can work this piece, just like we did the other one. And I'm going to go ahead and work my score lines. This paper right here is gorgeous. This was a pack that, like I said, I had in my stash. And one side is a dark, and it's got a woven look to it. I don't know if the camera's picking that up or not, but it looks very woven. So it's just a beautiful paper pack, and I don't even remember. I've had this forever, so I don't remember where I got it. I'm sorry about that. I wish I could tell you, because that would be very helpful. Now we're going to do this again on this 12-inch side. We're going to cut up to the score line. On the score line going this way, we're going to cut up until we get to that next score line. And then we're going to wedge out, just a tiny wedge, just like that. When you lay it down, it's going to look something like that. And we're going to do the same thing over here. We're going to go up that score line, and then wedge it out. And that, again, is going to look something like that. And now we are going to be able to put our glue. I was going to use sticky tape, but I decided I'm going to use just regular glue. And I did not get that score line cut up on nice and straight, so I'm just going to go back and cut that nice and straight. This one too. Just like that. Okay, so I'm going to just use some regular wet glue for this. I'm sorry, I told y'all my allergies have been really kicking lately. So on this little tab right here, I'm going to put some wet glue. And I'm going to just fold this over. And I want to make sure that this piece is nice and flush with that. See how nice and flush I've got that? And I'm going to hold it. I'll probably get a little wet wipe, just something to wipe off my excess glue. Oops. And if you use wet glue, you are going to have to hold this for just a minute, because you're going to have to give it time enough to hold. Either that or use some of the little clothespins. You see, I've got some small ones and I've got some larger ones. Let me grab the larger ones. These work really great for holding your pieces together. I always call them my extra fingers. So I'm going to use those, and this one I'm going to come up and I'm just going to put glue. I put it up too high before, so I'm just going to put glue right here. Just like that. And I'll bring that up nice and even, making sure that I've got that exactly where I want it, just like so. And I'm just going to wipe that down. And again, I'm going to grab one of my little clothespins just to hold it. And this right here is going to be the top of our box. Now, what I should have done is I should have cut this side down. I should have cut that side down to the length that I needed it, but it's okay. It doesn't matter because any length that we left on here is only going to give us reinforcement. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do the same thing here. I am going to hold that over like that, and I'm going to put my glue right here. And I'm going to make sure that I get that nice and flush with that edge, just like that. Grab another one of my little trusty clothespins. You can pick these up at most craft stores. I think I got these at Joann's. And they come in so handy just to give yourself a little extra hand when you're doing stuff like this. So I'm going to put my glue on this one. And bring it up and make sure it's squared. These squares are crucial when you're making a fitted box. So I'm just going to hold that for a minute. I'm letting that excess glue just kind of squeeze out. And I'm going to use my little wet wipe, and I'm just going to wipe it off. Grab one of my little clothespins, and I want to make sure that this is going to set up just like I want it, and that clothespin will make sure that it does. See how nice that worked? I'm going to move that clothespin a little bit. Alright, so while these are drying, let's go ahead and cut the top to our box. So you will need 2 pieces of your solid cardstock. And the reason you'll need 2 pieces is it's going to take 1 piece to make your 2 sides to your box. And let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm visual, so I always think everybody else is too. And I can always explain something a lot better if I show you. There's one side of our box, and here's the other side of our box. So there you have your box, and if you see it's a little bigger than it should be, you want it like that because you want this box to have room enough to go over top of your tissue box. So I gave myself about a 1/4 inch larger so that it would fit. But let's cut our top out of this first. So I'm going to cut my top at 9 inches. What we want the top to do is to sit perfectly on top of this. So how I'm going to get my measurements for that is I'm going to measure this as 9 1/4 by 4 5/8. So 9 1/4. Did I say 9 1/4? 9 1/4, and I'm going to go ahead and get my trimmer out again, and we are going to go ahead and cut a piece off that is 4 3/4. Let me put my pen back in my glue so we don't have a clumpy mess here. So there we go, and 4 3/4, which would be just before the 5. Four and 3/4, and then we're going to cut this off at 9 1/4. So 9 1/4. And this should give us our perfect square to go across the top. And that should fit on there just like that. Now the only thing that we need to do to prep our top is cut our little triangle, our little rectangular piece in here. And remember I told you we're going to use these Ornate layer dies. What we could do is make it even easier. Let's find the center of the paper. This Tim Holtz ruler makes it really easy to center because you got that center 0, and then when you even it up on here, okay, it looks like right there would be our center. So I'm going to move this down just a little bit. Okay, that is our center, so I'm going to get my pencil and I'm going to mark right here as my center. And then we're going to turn it this way, and we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to find our center. And you do that by moving these until they're equal on each side, and then that will show you your center. So there's my center right there. So we know that there and here would be our center. So I'm going to accentuate this dot, and I'm going to get rid of this one. Make sure that you use a pencil and have an eraser that is easy to get the pencil mark off of, because this will be your top, and even though we're going to cut this out, this mark right here is not going to show at all, because we're going to put that die over top of that, and we will be cutting this out. So I'm going to eyeball this and put it right down in the middle, just like so. And then we will take this to the die machine and cut it, and then we'll meet right back up. I'll be right back. Alright, we got our little piece cut out, so I'm going to pull up my little tags. These little post-it flags are the best things for this, and they just come in a little packet like that, and I leave them right here so that I can pull them off anytime that I am doing a die cut. And look how beautiful that cut out. Now this piece is stitched, so I'm going to save that piece because I can use that on something else, on another card or whatever. So now we have our little window, and I don't know if I showed you this. I don't think I did. The reason I chose that size die is because it fit perfect for me to pull up my tissues. So as you can see, that will fit perfect on the top of our box. I do have a little bit of extra because I remember I made the box to go over this one just a tiny bit bigger, so it will slide up and down fairly easily. So what I'm going to do at this point, I need to cut my pieces that I need for the sides like this. Let's see if this will work. It needs to be a little bit taller, but that's okay. We've got some extra pieces, so we can make this any size we want it. So I'm going to pull my clothespins off. We're done with those for now. And we are getting our box built, which is a good thing. I'm having to check and make sure I'm not running over top of a puppy dog down here under my feet, because they love to stay under me when I'm in here crafting. And I am not opposed to that because I love my little babies so much, and they do like to stay wherever I'm at. So see, this is going to glue onto here just like that. Just like that. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use some sticky tape under here. And I'm going to use a wider sticky tape. I have a 1 inch. This will save me from having to go around it with the thinner ink, you know, countless times, like 3 or 4 times. So I'm just going to grab this, and I am going to just run it right along here, just like that. And as you can see, one strip of that is plenty. Now I am going to run this piece up like this. And then I'm going to run it down like this. And then I'm going to put a little piece right in between here. And what I'm going to do is try to butt that right there, just like that. And just bring it right to that piece, and I'm going to put my little block right up against it and tear it. That way it gives me nice even coverage all the way around. And I think that's going to be perfect for what we need it to glue. Now what I want to do is I want to see what length of piece do I need for this. And I am thinking that this piece will need to be the same length that this was. So we are looking at 4 7/8. So we're going to do 5 7/8. So 5 7/8 is going to be right to there. So 5 7/8 will make it right there. And I'm going to go ahead and slice this piece down. And now we just need to cut the pieces that we need to go in the middle. And I'm going to do those at 3 inches. And we're going to actually piece those in after we get our box together. So I'm just going to do those at 3. So we need 2 of these cut at 3. That's 1. And 2. And we need to score them at 1 at the top. So 1 inch. And 1 inch. So now we have these both scored. And all we need to do is just bend those down, just like that. Let's move our scoreboard out of our way so we can have plenty of room here to be able to get these in where we need them. Now they're going to go underneath here, just like that. So what I want to do is go ahead and fit these. Before I fit those in, I think I'm going to go ahead and put my top on. I am going to pull off my tape that goes across the top, and what I want to do is I want to set one side in just like that, and then we'll set the other side in, and then we can put our pieces in and know that they're where they need to be. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to burnish down the sticky tape, make sure it's adhered really well. Just like that. So I'm going to take up this piece and I think that's all we're going to need to do to stick this down. Maybe we'll do this one too. I'm going to just go right here. And see, when you burnish that down really well, your backer paper comes up just beautifully. You don't have to think about it. All you have to do is just pick it up. Before we do that, I want to put some sticky tape right inside of this because I want it ready to put this piece in. I'm sorry, not that piece. These pieces. I need to keep my cut pieces over here and my scrap pieces back over here. What I want to do is put some sticky tape inside here. So I'm going to grab this wide tape again and I'm going to hold this up. Let's see if I can do it so you can see what I'm doing. I don't know if you're going to be able to see what I'm doing like this or not, but basically what I'm going to do is run the tape. So let me put this piece of tape down in here. Like I said, I don't know for sure that you're going to be able to see what I'm doing, but I'm just adhering the tape inside of this piece. And I'm going to tear that off, just like that. And we need to do the other side the same way. I wish I'd have thought, when you do this, put your tape down on your pieces before you put them down. It just makes life much, much easier if you do that. And I was not thinking, or I would have done it prior to putting it on my piece. There. I am going to cut this off to keep that nice and even since I tore that. And there we go. Just like that. And I'm going to do the same thing on these two pieces that I did on the other. I'm going to take my bone folder and I just want to smooth that out to get that nice and even and sticky. Now I did come over the edge a little bit, but we're just going to roll that adhesive back over when we, I'm going to go ahead and do it on these pieces as well. To get this in here, close to the edge. Just like that. And up into that corner. That'll work. And then I'm going to do this piece right here. Close up into that corner as you can get it. And like that. And this one I'm just going to cut it off even with my work. And again, I'm going to take this bone folder because you really want to smoosh this out, making sure that you're getting a good adhesion. And we are good now. We've got these pieces are ready to go on. So let's bring this piece back down. This is our little problem child right here. And this is going to be our top. So let's make sure we're getting it the right way. And we didn't. I put the tape on the wrong side. Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We are going to go ahead and take the tape off, and I'm going to cut another piece like this. And I want to reinforce this piece anyway, so this could be a very happy accident. And it's not going to matter what color piece we make, as long as our little triangles are in the right place, because this piece does need to be very, very heavy. So maybe this was a happy accident. You know, sometimes we do have happy accidents. So let's just go ahead and put another piece of tape across here. And another piece right here. And another piece right here. This is going to reinforce this piece with the tape as well as another piece of cardstock. So let's see. We need that piece to be 9 1/4. Yep, 9 1/4 by 4 3/4. So I'm going to lay this piece over here again because I don't want it to stick to something. And I've got a piece of purple here that I am going to cut that piece out of. And we are going to cut that at 9 1/4. Let's open up our arm. 9 1/4. And 3/4. 4 and 3/4. Right there before you get to the 5. And then we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to make it easy on myself just to make sure that we get this where it's supposed to be. I am going to lay this piece down on top. just like that. And I'm going to use my pencil and now that lets me know exactly where I need to put my die. So I am going to lay my die down over top of those lines, making sure that I am right there on those lines. And I'll grab my little pieces again, my little tabs. And I'm going to run this through the die cut machine and we'll be right back. Okay, we are back and I am going to pull my little tabs off of here. I'm just sticking these back up on my little tab holders because I want to use these as many times as I can. And I love these because they're so easy on your cardstock. Much easier than using purple tape even. Now I have another one of these that I can use for a sentiment. So I'm not going to get rid of those. I'm going to hang on to them. So now what we want to do is we want to make sure that this piece lines up perfectly with this. And it looks like it does. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and finish getting the backer off of the rest of my sticky tape. And as you can see, this is going to give a lot of stability to this piece. And then we can turn this over and put our sticky tape down where we need it to adhere. So this will give us exactly what we need. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to line it up like this. And I'm going to fold it over. And maybe this is always the hard part, is getting it lined up. But I think what I'm going to do is line it up with that center. And press it down. Just like that. Now that is a very substantial piece. It's with having that sticky tape underneath it, it gives it so much stability. Okay, it seems like I have lost my sound, so I think it was my fault. I forgot to turn my microphone back on after my last pause. So at any rate, I am just going to show you how I attach the top, and I just basically, I'm getting a fit for it because you definitely want those corners to be, to line up nice, and that looks really good. So, and doing one side at a time. This side at this time, I'm just going to use liquid glue, and I'm going to put this down, a lot of glue on it because I really want to make sure this top holds very tight to the sides and the front and the sides of the box. So this seemed to be my best option. So I'm looking to make sure that I'm gluing it on the right way. Now all I'm going to do is just sit that down and sit it on top of it, and I'm going to turn it so that I can make sure that I've got a nice straight line all the way down. Very pleased with the way that turned out. That worked really, really well. So now we're just going to press that down to make sure all of that glue gets smushed in there. And now we're going to grab the other piece because we need to glue this piece to the side of the card as well. I mean the side of the box as well. And making sure that I'm getting it going the right way. And there we go. And we're just going to do the same with this. We're going to grab some glue and put some glue all the way down that piece. And it's always a good idea to do a test run on your piece before you actually glue this together. You want to make sure that you have a good fit, but not so tight that you won't be able to pull it on and off of your box. Because if you make this even 1/16 of an inch too small, it's not going to slide down over your box. So it's so important to make sure you do a little trial run on it right here. And that's looking like that's going to fit really well. I'm just going to tuck those tissues down inside so they're kind of out of our way. Don't need to get glue on those. So I'm just going to proceed to put glue on this little, on the edge right here, because I just need that to glue really good to that. There we go. We're going to slide that onto the box and set that piece right down into the glue. And now I'm going to turn it over and smoosh that down really good as well. Let's get those tissues out of our way so we can have a little bit more room here to work. It's always a good idea to come back with your bone folder and just really rub that area down and get that glue pushed out so that it makes sure it gets all of the little nooks and crannies. And that's looking really good. So now we need to put our side panels in. And they're just going to sit right down in there, just like that. So we already have tape running down the sides, so we just need to put a piece of sticky tape across the top of our side panel. Now what I'm doing is I'm putting a little glue on each of the tabs so that when I set those down, they will adhere perfectly. So instead of using glue this time, I'm going to use the sticky tape, and we're just going to put that right across that where we scored that 1-inch score line. I turned it over so you can see that score line a little better, but I need it laying flat this way in order to get the tape on it. So I'm just applying the tape, making sure I got it as even as I can. Don't worry here if you have a little bit of a hangover or hang off of your tape. You can always roll it back onto itself once you pull the backer off. All of this is the little tedious details that it takes in putting together a project like this, but every bit necessary as any of it. And of course, for me, the fun part is getting to the decorating part. I think that's true with all of us. You build your cards or whatever you're doing, and when you get to the point where you can decorate, you feel like you're almost home. But we're just about there. We got this little bit of construction left to do, and once we finish with that, we will be on to our decorating. So now that I got both of these pieces adhered, and I'm double checking, just making sure everything is going together as needed. And then I'm just going to pull that backer off of that tape. Now that I got that backer off, I am just going to roll that excess tape back onto itself. That just keeps it from overhanging. And now we're just going to bring our box back over so you can see exactly what I'm doing. And I'm going to sit that piece down flat into the box. If you can hold that up and get it to go all the way flush to the bottom, then that's good. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm just pulling up that tape on each side. And if you notice, I have my my side panel is glued down, but I pushed it down and laid my bone folder on it to hold it in place until I got the sticky tape undone. And again, I apologize for having to do the voiceover, but for whatever reason, there was a section of my video here where I had no sound, and like I said, I think that was my fault, and I am so sorry. I hope you don't mind the voiceover. Now I'm just squaring that up to make sure that that's just like I want it before I pull up those sides. And then pull those up, squaring it off, mashing it down, and make sure we have that in there really well. And we are going to flip it I'm just working that down really well. And I do have some excess stickiness inside the box, but we'll address that in a little bit. So I'm just putting a little strip off of the sticky tape over it, hoping that nothing will get stuck to it. But I have plans to cover that, so no worries. Now again, I'm just doing the same thing that I did before. I am sitting that piece down in there, and it's hard for you to see that because of the way I have the box, but I'm holding that piece up with my finger, sliding the panel all the way down until it hits the very top of the box. And once I get that in there and all the way down like I know that it needs to be, then I'm going to press that bottom piece, or the top, into the top of the box. And we're doing the same thing here too. We're going to peel that backer off, and we're going to sit that piece right down into the glue or the sticky tape. And this is very repetitious because we just did it on the other side. We're just repeating what we already did. And I'm going in with the bone folder and just make sure that that is adhered really well to that sticky tape. Now we have the body of our boxes done, so what we get to do now is decorate. Oh, I did a test run, and this is where I realized that this side was a little bit too tight, so I had to undo it. And if you will take a piece of anything that you're working on with sticky tape, if you take it to your mouth and just huff on it, and this is what I'm doing, just letting that warm air hit that glue or that two-sided tape, it will come loose. It will come loose just from a gentle huffing. And it's not a lot, it's just more like and the warmth of your breath and the moisture will help that to come loose, and then your glue just lets go. It's a great tip and something that's really good to know. Alright, we're going to try this one more time, see if we got a fit now. This looks a little bit better. I think I had pulled my sides in a little bit too much, and I just had to adjust it. And I'm noticing that the piece is a little bit longer than the rest of the box, so I'm just doing a snip snip and making sure that I've got it nice and even. Now the voice on this will come back shortly, and it will not be so much of a, oh, that fits really good. That's exactly the fit that we wanted. So it slides down over top of the box very gently, and we can make that work now. So now we get to do the fun part, which is the decorating. So this is where, and we're going to reinforce this box to make it a little more sturdy, but we'll do that later after we get it decorated. So I'm pulling over my piece of pressed petals paper, and I just want to be able to cut some elements out using my dies and my die cut machine. So all I'm going to do here is we're going to cover the sides, the front and the back, and then we're going to not cover, I am so sorry. I'm actually grabbing out my oval dies, and I'm going to choose a oval die that I want to cut this pattern paper out of, because this designer series paper is so pretty. That pressed petals is one of my favorite. And I'm pretty sure this is the dies that I want to use. These are so pretty cut. And these are Gina Marie dies, and I believe they are called pleated lacy something. It'll be in the description. I'll go back and put that in the description. All right, we are back, and I think we are finally ready to put this together. So the first thing I want to do, and I want to tell you what I did with this, I cut this out, and it made a whole piece because it did not cut out the middle, because that's what this piece is for. So after I cut it, I went back and laid this piece in the middle and cut that out, which gave me another one of these, only in this color. Isn't that cute? Very pretty. So that gave me my opening that I need to go right here. Look how pretty that is. Isn't that beautiful? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my little craft mat, my little silicone mat out, and I'm going to lay that down, and I'm going to take some liquid glue, and I just want to dab, just little dots of glue all along here. And this is a good reason to use the silicone mat, because we're going to get glue all over everything. And this way it's just going to be on this mat, which the glue will wipe right off of. So, alright, I'm going to take this, I'm going to move this mat over here, bring this back, and we're going to lay this down exactly where we want it, which is going to be right there. And I'm just going to press that down. This might be a good time to bring out a stamp block and just lay a stamp block on it like that, and just let that adhere. Okay. My other pieces that I did are these little scalloped edges that we're going to use across the top. This is going to serve twofold. This is going to serve, let's see if that's stuck down. I think it's stuck down enough. This is going to serve two purposes. One is it's going to cover this edge, and it's also going to give us a beautiful decorative little border on here. So what I'm going to do for this is I just want to run glue right in here. So I want it to adhere, you know, top and bottom, but I don't want a whole lot of glue. I don't want to ooze a big amount of oozing to take place. So I'm going to sit that down just like that, slide it on right where it needs to be, and I'm just going to crease it. Crease it right onto the top of that box. Isn't that gorgeous? Now I am going to raise this up. Oops. Not before it's adhered. But I do want to raise that up once this is glued down good. Let's just give it a few minutes. Why don't we turn it over and we'll put this piece on. I do need to cut this one because I have not cut it down yet. So it's going to need to be cut right there. Okay, and let's go ahead and put some glue in here. I think for this one I'm going to go ahead and dab a little bit of glue around the bottom here too, so I won't have to raise it back up. But I'm definitely going to get glue in the middle and up on that top lip as well as the bottom. And then I'm just going to do some every here and there on here. Just enough to tack that down a little bit more. And then we're going to lay this on this edge and glue that down just like that. I'm going to let that stick and we'll be right back. Okay folks, we're back, and as you can see I've gotten one side of the oval glued here and one here, but I still have the one to do on the other side. So I am going to go ahead and put this down, and I'm just going to use a little snail, and I'm just going to wrap this around like that, and a little bit here, and maybe a piece in the middle, and that should do it. And let's make sure that we got our flowers going in the right direction, and I think like this will be really good. And I want to kind of frame this and get it as even as I can in the middle. I'm just going to match that down. I want these edges to be up a little bit because I think that gives it a nice dimensional look. Now we do have one more that needs to go in over here, and again I'm going to put it like that, and I'm just going to use some snail, and I'll go right down the middle here and here, and we are going to just put this down right over top, and see how well that covers the seam. So you can use your decorative pieces to seal up. The other thing that I do want to do with this is I want to put some pieces inside just to make it more sturdy. So I'm going to cut some pieces that's going to fit down in here on all four sides, and we will glue those in, and then we will call this done. So let me grab some cardstock and I'll be right back. Let's see, I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use some of this white. No one's going to see the inside of it, and this is the Brutus Monroe's Dr. Mama's cardstock, and this stuff is super sturdy. So I want to cut a piece that is just shy of the length of this box. So let's measure across here, and we know that this is 9 1/4, so I'm going to do 9 1/8. So I just want to get the length that I need let's see, we could probably do that. And we're gonna do the length. So we're gonna do 9 1/8. And again, like I said, the reason I'm going to use this particular cardstock is because it is nice and sturdy, and I know that it will hold up well inside of here. And the smaller pieces, I'm just going to keep that as for sentiments and things like that when I need a piece. Now this piece needs to be about 4 3/4. So let's cut this at 4 3/4. And this piece will fit right in here like this, and that fits really well. And what we'll do is we'll put some glue on it, and we'll just glue these pieces in. So I need another one that size, and let's see if these will work. No, not quite for the side. So let's cut one more for the top, and we need that to be 9 1/8. By 4 3/4. Make sure that I am cutting this the same size. Four 3/4. That would be right there, and that looks good. Just like that. Now we got those two sides done. The only thing we got to do now is the end pieces. So the end pieces are going to be, oops, let's see, we're going to do those at 4 3/4. Yeah, 4 3/4 by 4 1/8. Let's see, 4 1/8. I wonder if we can make these work. Yeah, we need something a little bit wider than that. So we need one more piece of this heavy cardstock. So I am going to do my width first, which was 4 and about 4 and about 4 and let's do it 4 1/2. So 4 1/2. And let's see if we can get both lengths out of that, and we need the height to be 4 3/4. So 4 3/4. And 4 3/4. And now all we have to do is just put some glue on those and glue them in, and we will have this completely done. And look how pretty it is. Now if you wanted to, you could take it a step further and cut another oval out. You could stamp initials on here. You could stamp a pretty saying, something that means a lot to you. That would be nice to put in there. There's just so many ways and so many different things that you could do with this. So I am going to go ahead and put my side pieces in first, or the front and the back I should say. And they are going to slide in just like that. So I'm just going to use some of my glue, my liquid glue. And I'm going to put a good amount on here because I want these pieces to stay. Just like that. And then I'm going to slide this in just like that. And I know you're not seeing what I'm doing, but it is going in just like this. I'm going to push that in really well. Then I'm going to turn it on the end. I think I'll go ahead and put this other one in. And the same thing with this. I'm going to take my liquid glue, move that out of the way. I want y'all to see what I'm doing. And just slide that in and mash it down. Just like that. And then we're going to turn it this way. And we're going to take one of these side pieces and put it in just like that. This is going to give us some stability on our blocks that is going to be much needed. So again, glue. I think I left my pen out of my glue too long, and it doesn't want to flow as freely as it should, so we'll just poke the hole a little bit more and see what happens. And maybe it just needs burping. You know, if all else fails, we will go with the snail, or we'll do a different adhesive. This is not wanting to come out for me, so I'm not going to fight with it. Let's see. I got some of the Tombow liquid glue, the multi-function. And we'll just try a little bit of it and see how that works. Oh yeah, that's coming out. Wipe that tip off because I don't want to leave that too nasty. Alright, so now I'm just going to take and put this in and slide it all the way up and adhere it down nice and neat. And then we're going to turn it over and we're going to do the same thing with this piece. And oh my goodness, do I have glue all over me now. And this one has two ends. It actually has this end, which is really nice, I think, for spreading your glue. So let's try that. Oh yeah, look at that. That spreads your glue out really nice. And that's probably exactly what we needed on this piece. Kind of spread it. Oh yeah, that worked really good. So now I'm just going to lay this in all the way to the top, centering it right in that piece, just like that. Now this box is nice and sturdy. Feel how sturdy that sounds. And I can assure you that it is just as sturdy as it sounds. It really is. So now here's the true test. We are going to put it over top of our, making sure it fits. There we go. Perfect fit. And there we go. We have the perfect little tissue box cover. It fits absolutely beautifully. All four sides are decorated. We have decoration here on the top. We have a bordered edge around it. How beautiful did that turn out? And like I said, if you wanted to take and put your family initial or your personal initial, or you could do a monogram, it would be beautiful like that. So however you decide to decorate this, and I'm thinking I may take a piece of off-white or that pretty pink, maybe something like that, that would coordinate with that light pink that's in there, and put an initial on it. I may come back and show y'all this after the fact, but I'm going to go ahead and post this because I was feeling under the weather for the last few days and I did not get a video up yesterday. I am feeling much better, so anybody that was saying a prayer for me, I just want to tell you how much I appreciate it. They were definitely well felt, and I just thank you so much for your love. And I want to thank you so much for watching my video today. I hope that you will make one of these, and if you do, share it over on our Facebook page. Also, if you are not a subscriber to my channel, please hit the subscribe button and ring that little bell. That will give you the option of how you want to be notified of videos that I put up. So that's how you can kind of stay in touch with me. Leave me a comment too. It's so important for me to hear from you. I don't know if you like what I'm doing unless I hear from you. So a lot of times I have to assume if I don't get a comment that maybe you didn't care for my video. And I hope that's not the case. I hope that you were just busy. And I have had some of my subscribers to tell me I was busy and I just didn't get a chance to comment, but I loved it. So I'm hoping that that's the case with you as well. So I want to thank you again so much for tuning in to this video. I hope that this is something that you enjoyed, something that you will find use out of, and something that you would want to display in your home. And like I always say in closing, let everything you do and say bring glory to our Lord in heaven. He is so worthy of our praise. He does so much for us every single day. His love, His mercy, His endurance, His gentleness, the way He loves us. We could never comprehend that type of love. It's not in us as human beings to comprehend the love of God. But it is our commission to try to love others the way He loves us. So I hope that you will let someone know today how much they mean to you, how much you love them, and that you're there for them. In this uncertain times that we are living in, it is so important to know that we are loved and cared about and cherished. So until we craft again, may God keep you and bless you. And remember, I love you, and I will see you on our next crafting video. Bye-bye.